Hi students, once again a hearty welcome to online mode of learning, and today we are going to study an interesting topic in our grammar section. Very interesting and very complicated as well. Very important also. Why do I say this? Because we are going to study today the idiomatic expressions, or what you call the idioms. Now, studying and using idioms is a skill in any language. And the use of idioms in a language really, it enriches the language. It makes the language very rich, and it embellishes the language. It is a kind of decoration for the language. And sometimes when we read or when we speak or when we listen to people speak, and if they use idioms, we do not understand. Sometimes we say, it went above my head. Now, how can language go above my head? Isn't it? It's an idiomatic expression. Imagine I say like this, due to COVID-19, my neighbor kicked the bucket. Due to COVID-19 or Corona, my neighbor kicked the bucket. Now you may tell me, well, what is the relationship between kicking the bucket and Corona? That's what I said. That's an idiom, meaning to say, kick the bucket means to expire, to die, to breathe last. So instead of telling the person died, he expired, he diseased, we use the idiom kicked the bucket. Kick the bucket means to die, to die. Now imagine, yesterday there was a cricket match, T20 cricket match between Royal Challengers Bangalore, RCB, and Mumbai Indians. And the match went up to be a tie match, and then there was one super over, and RCB won the match. So we may say, after winning the match, RCB was on cloud 9. Now what do you mean? Why can't they come down to cloud 8? How did they reach cloud 9 without going to cloud 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Well, nothing of that sort. So cloud 9, to be on cloud 9 means to be very happy, to be very, very happy. And you say, I am on cloud 9, I am on cloud 9. It's an idiomatic expression for, instead of saying to be happy, to be very, very happy, we say, I am on cloud 9. Now, let me tell you once again, since I had no mask, looking at the police, I took to heels from the place. Since I was not wearing mask, face mask, looking at the police, I took to heels from the place. What do you mean by take to heels? Past tense is took to heels. What is that? Meaning to say escape from the place. Because if police people come, they may ask me about my mask, and finding that I am not wearing one, they may fine me. They may fine me. So what do? I escape from the place. Take to my heels. Okay, or take to one's heels means escape from the place. Well, now a few years ago I lost my dad, and you see the expression is like this. When I checked my dad's pulse, he had already gone cold. When I checked my dad's pulse, he had already gone cold. What do you mean by to go cold? Okay, when you touch a living person, a person who is very much alive, the body warmth, we feel it. Okay, because the body has a kind of temperature. It's warm. Okay, but when a person dies, he goes cold. He cold. Okay, we say, so to go cold means actually the person is no more alive. Meaning to say there is no life. There is no life. So we say, why are you very cold? Why there is no life within you? Why there is no vigor within you? So it can be expressed in that way. Now, for your understanding, idioms are not only found in English. They are found in all the languages. Take it Konkani, take it Kannada, take it in Hindi. In all the languages, idioms are found. And they are, they really give beauty to any language. For example, in Hindi famous, we say, Dal mein kuch kala hai. Dal mein kuch kala hai means there is something wrong somewhere. Dal mein kuch kala hai, which I am not able to find out, but dal mein kuch kala hai. You know dal, okay. Dal looks very clean, but kuch kala hai, there is something wrong. There is something wrong. And we say, dal mein kuch kala hai. Or sometimes in Konkani we say, Ranan paus. What do you mean by Ranan paus? When we don't understand certain things, for example, you say, well, the idiomatic expressions, it sounds Ranan paus, or it, just we say Ranan paus podle bashan zale. What is the meaning? Meaning to say, when it rains in the forest, nobody comes to know. We who are living in apartments in city, we may not know. We may not know because we don't get to know. So certain things when you do not understand, we say Ranan paus. Yeah, I did not understand. See, that's a language expression in Konkani. Similarly in Kannada, sometimes you must have heard Talege ereda neeru kaligiliyitu. Meaning to say, whatever you do, you get it back. You get it back. Madidunno Maharaya, they say it's a byword. That is an adage. Okay. But you see, when used as an idiomatic expression, we say Talege ereda neeru kaligiliyitu. Means whatever you do, you get it back. If you pour water on your head, it comes down to your own feet. So all these are idiomatic expressions. Now, we need to learn them. Otherwise, when somebody uses them, if we do not understand, we are almost like idiots. Okay, I should not use this word, but just to tell you the importance of these idiomatic expressions in language, we need to learn the idioms. Now, how to learn? There is no app to learn. We need to practice this. We need to read and we need to listen when others speak, and then we have to practice by self. Then really we will be able to understand idiomatic expressions. So let us today study all these idiomatic expressions, and we will be really able to improve our language also, and that will be a plus point for our communication. Let us keep this in mind, and today let us study the idiomatic expressions. Okay. Now, what is an idiom? See, I have given there a write-up. An idiom may be defined as an expression peculiar to a language. I told you already, any language has got idioms. It is a special phrase whose total meaning is different from individual words in the phrase. It is a special phrase whose total meaning is different from individual words in the phrase. For example, the first one I told you was, my neighbor kicked the bucket. Now you see, neighbor, okay, you understand, kicked the bucket, kicking the bucket. See the meaning of that, kicking the bucket. I kick football. Okay, now what is this kicking the bucket? Okay, whose total meaning is different from the individual words in the phrase. What is the total meaning? Kick the bucket means to die. Now what is the individual meaning? Kick with your leg, bucket, okay, like a football. See, what is the difference? There is no relationship between the individual meaning and the total meaning. Every language has its own idioms and specific expressions based on the region and the culture. Yeah, this is very, very important that we need to understand. All the language have got these expressions. Okay, so every language has its own idioms and expressions based on the region and culture. So you see, the idiomatic expressions in the same language can change based on the region. Okay, southern region, the same expression may mean something. Northern region, in the same language, the expression can be something, because it is based on the regionality and the culture of the people. Idiomatic language is expressive apt language, meaning to say we use it in our expression. It is both attractive and useful. I told you right from the beginning that the person who uses idiomatic expressions really is a skillful speaker. It not only emphasizes what we want to say, but also impresses the listener and the reader. Yeah, this is very, very important. Okay, when we listen to such people, we come to know the idiomatic expressions. I must tell you here, Navjot Singh Sidhu, okay, a politician and a former cricket player. You must see the way he uses these idioms and similes in his talk, whether it is Hindi or English. Beautiful, beautiful. You feel like listening to the person again and again. I'm sure you must have heard one more person, Shashi Tharoor. He's an MP from Kerala, member of parliament. Beautiful language he has got. Okay, and when he speaks, really, we can say Ranan paus. Meaning to say we do not understand those idioms. So highly embellished language he speaks. Keep this in mind. Okay. Now, I've got some expressions here you can understand with that. What is that? She felt like a fish out of water in their sophisticated company. Now, can you see this? Fish out of water. Now, what is the meaning of fish out of water? Now, see, the second sentence gives here meaning to say feel uncomfortable. The meaning is she felt uncomfortable in that sophisticated company. For example, a fish is very comfortable in the water. Now, take the fish out of the water, it cannot breathe because it doesn't get oxygen. It gets enough oxygen in the water, in the land it doesn't get. So it becomes uncomfortable. So we say, when you feel uncomfortable, we say, I felt a fish out of water. When I go to a strange place, you feel like fish out of water. Okay, take the second one. Abhi passed exam with flying colors. Now, passing the exam and flying colors, what is the relationship? The meaning is Abhi passed the exam with very high mark or very high grade, with good marks, okay, distinction or 95%. Then we say he has come out in flying colors, flying colors. Take the third one. Pooja was on cloud 9. I told you already, okay, when she was promoted. What is the meaning of to be on cloud 9? I told you already. When you feel very happy, we say I am on cloud 9. Pooja was very happy when she was promoted. Okay, so you understand here the use of idioms, idiomatic expressions in language. The underlined idiom in the first sentence is apt and self-explanatory. It makes a deeper impression than the explanation in the second one, isn't it? Now see here, when you say she felt like a fish out of water, then uncomfortable, which one is better? Which one makes sense or impression? The first one, okay? So when I say she felt like fish out of water is more expressive, okay, than she felt uncomfortable in that sophisticated company. You see? It's like, me wearing an ordinary dress and some wedding for the dress meant for weddings and other things. Lot of decoration. This is what an idiom does to the language. It makes the language very attractive and very soothing to the ears, very soothing to the ears. So, dear students, keep in mind to learn idioms even in English. Okay, let's go forward. Now, let's take some examples here and see their corresponding meaning. To keep one's shirt on. These are from your textbook. To keep one's shirt on. Now, what do you mean by keep one's shirt on? Meaning to say, to control one's temper. To control one's temper. For example, once there was a cricket match between India and England, and Sourav Ganguly was the captain, and India won that cricket match chasing more than 300. The moment India won, no sooner did India win the match than Ganguly took off his shirt and he was waving it. What is that? He almost lost control. He was so happy, he was on cloud 9, and like as if he has taken revenge. Okay, so usually that maybe that behavior can be we can discuss upon that behavior, but we cannot behave as we want in public. We need to keep our shirt on. Remember this. For example, if I am a respectable person who is in a high position, I cannot do this. I cannot lose my temper. An ordinary person, yes. So to keep one's shirt on means not to lose one's control. Take the second one. To be under one's thumb. To be under one's thumb. What is the meaning? To be under someone's complete control. Okay, for example, when the persons, those who are literate, okay, they sign, okay, but those who are illiterate, they have to put a thumb impression. Okay, so we say he is a left hand thumb impression person. Means he is not able to start, or he is not educated person. May not be right, he is not illiterate. Okay, now here, to be under one's thumb means to be under someone's complete control. Okay, a servant is always under the thumb of his master. Okay, to have a swollen head, very beautiful expression. To have a swollen head, what is the meaning? To admire oneself greatly, to feel great about oneself. We say he has got a swollen head, means he thinks great about himself. Okay, to blow one's own trumpet. We have heard this many places. To blow one's own trumpet. What is the meaning? To praise oneself. To say I am better than the other. Okay, usually others should speak about me positively. Others should praise me. I cannot praise myself. So when a person praises himself, okay, Jamba kochikolluತ್ತಿರುವ uttara kumara, they say in Kannada. Okay, so that is called blowing one's own trumpet. Then, to be hand in glove with. To be hand in glove with. Okay, now we know this. Actually, each of these idioms, they have got a long history, how such expressions came about. Okay, if you take any books on idioms, you get to know the long history and the reason why such expression is come about. Okay, now see here, to be hand in glove with, what is the meaning? To participate in wrongdoing. To participate in a wrongdoing. Okay, for example, sometimes we say, okay, the thief is caught or the police are not ready to catch the thief. Then we say, maybe the thief is in hand in gloves with the police. Okay, they are, in the same boat. We say that expressions, to be in same boat. Then, now see this, to be in soup, to be in soup. Now soup, we know very well when we go to the hotel, we order for soup, a bowl of soup, maybe a vegetable soup or non-vegetarian, sweet or whatever it is. But what is the meaning to be in soup? To be in trouble, to be in trouble. For example, now many of the celebrities, many of the film industry actors are in soup. Over what? Over drug abuse case. Okay, drug peddling case. They are in trouble. They are in soup. Okay, to know A to Z. To know A to Z. What do you mean by to know A to Z? A to Z means from A to Z, which means you know everything. So, to know everything about a subject, we say he knows A to Z. Sachin Tendulkar knows A to Z of cricket. I may not know. I may not know. Okay. To go on a wild goose chase. Okay. To go on a wild goose chase means to go on a project which has no end or result. Now, in the wild, in the wilderness, in the forest, you get these geese or goose. Okay. Now, wild one, if you have reared it, you can control it. But in the forest, you know where it would run. Okay, you may not get result. So we say to go on a wild goose chase. Sometimes we say, okay, chasing butterflies in the garden. What do you mean by chasing butterflies in the garden? As when we were small, we have tried this, trying to catch a butterfly. Will you be able to catch a butterfly? Usually not, because butterfly goes from one place to the other place. Hence, your whole effort becomes futile. Your whole effort becomes useless. It doesn't bear any fruit. So we say, why are you chasing butterflies in the garden? Meaning to say, why are you doing an activity which doesn't bear any result? Then, to leave no stone unturned. What is this? To leave no stone unturned. Usually we say, okay, no student should leave any stone unturned for exam. What is that? To explore every alternative. Meaning to say, you need to, use all the resources possible for success. As students, you should not leave any stone unturned. Meaning to say, you need to turn every stone. You need to put in all the efforts without any exception. Then, to be the villain of the piece. To be the villain of the piece. What do you mean by to be the villain of the piece? Okay, see here. Okay. To be the villain of the piece. It means to be thought the person responsible. To be, thought the person responsible for something. For a crime or something like that. We say, scapegoat sometimes. Okay, to be a villain of the piece. Okay, right. So these are the expressions. And suppose you read in English newspapers or listen to the TV news or listen to some good speakers, you will get to know many of these idiomatic expressions. So please listen, because our language improves by listening, our language improves by reading. Now, let us go to the textbook or to your question papers and find out different idiomatic expressions, okay, and try to use them. Okay, now you must remember, I would tell you once again as well, what is that? When we use these idiomatic expressions, sometimes we may have to change these idiomatic expressions. What is that? Usually in these idiomatic expressions there are verbs. So verb may have to change its tense from present tense to past tense. And sometimes there are singular or plural, that also we may have to use. Okay, so when the example comes, I will show it so that you are able. Okay, now in the heart of rural Pudukkottai, young women dash the roads on their bicycles. Jamila Bibi, who has dash cycling, told it was her right. Now the given answers are take two, give up, and zip along. Okay, Now, unless we know the meaning, we cannot use it in a particular context. So, it's very important that we know all the idioms. Okay. Now, what do you mean by take two? What do you mean by give up? What do you mean by zip along? Take two means actually, begin to use. Begin to use, maybe to practice. Practice. Okay, for example, we say once the students come to SSLC, they have taken to science very easily. Like a fish takes itself to water. Okay, you leave a fish easily. Fish has no problem. And when you adjust to a situation, we say, I have taken to it very easily. Okay, but can we put take to here? Not possible. Second, give up. Give up means leave. Okay, leave it. So third, zip along. Zip along means go fast. Okay, now see the meaning here. In the heart of rural Pudukkottai, young women, the answer I have put here in the order. What is that? Zip along. Okay. Young women zip along the roads on their bicycles. Zip along means go fast. Okay. Then, Jamila baby who has, okay, now look at this what I told you. Taken to cycling. What is given here? Take to is given. But we have used it here as taken to. Why this past participle is used? We have already finished our passive voice. Now here, Jamila baby who has, this is a present perfect sentence. Okay, in a present perfect sentence, the verb is always in past participle form. Okay, so Jamila baby who has take to cycling doesn't sound right. It is wrong. So who has taken to cycling told it was her right. So please remember the change that sometimes there may not be change. We may have to simply do cut and paste. But otherwise, please remember the change it may. So it's very, very important to be very careful. Take the second example. The ministers decided to tell the criminal dash to run away. They did so. But the criminal said that if he ran away, people would dash on him. What are the options given? Turn their backs, be hanged to, straight out. Now, what is the meaning of turn their backs? Turn them means don't care. Don't pay any attention. Okay. Then, what do you mean by be hanged to? Be hanged to meaning to say, well, you look after your own business. Do whatever you want. And straight out means actually, okay, without any inclination, just tell it. Okay, without any hesitation, just say, we say straight out, straight out. Okay, now see. The ministers decided to tell the criminal, what is the answer? Straight out to run away. Meaning to say, actually the criminal was put in the prison. Now, how can you ask him to run away unless he is released? Now, actually, it is not correct to tell him to run away. It's like, how can I, as a teacher, ask my students to copy in the exam? I cannot ask straight out. Okay, similarly, it is said, the ministers decided to tell the criminal straight out to run away. They did so. But the criminal said, if he ran away, people would turn their backs. Okay, people would turn their backs. Meaning to say, people would, what do? They will not care for me. They will not consider me. They will turn their backs. They will not look at my face and talk to me. They will turn their backs. See, now here we need not change. As it is, we are able to fill the blanks. Let's go to the third example. The election campaign in Umuofia was dash. All knew that the honorable minister would have a dash. What is that now? The election campaign in Umuofia. Okay, the given thing is in a soup. Now we have already seen previously, to be in a soup means to be in trouble. Now it doesn't suit here. The election campaign in Umuofia was in soup. No problem. All knew that the honorable minister would have dash. What do you mean by landslide victory? Landslide victory means a great victory. Great victory with a big margin. Imagine one team scores 300 and the other one scores only 100 runs. Then we say, well, team A had a landslide victory. Why? The difference of score is 300 and 100. That means 200. It's a big margin of victory. So when the margin is bigger, we say landslide victory. Landslide victory. Okay. In the election, when one particular candidate wins against another candidate with a big margin, we say he had a landslide victory. What if the difference of votes is just 10 or 15? We say marginal victory. Marginal. In the page, we say a margin is supposed to be a smallest part. So when it's the difference is very small, we say marginal. When it's very big, we say landslide. So can we put it here? Okay, the election campaign in Umofia was landslide victory, not possible. Let's take the third one, in full swing. What do you mean by full swing? In full swing means 100%, where everybody is involved. So, election campaign in Umofia was in full swing. That is the right answer, in full swing. Then all knew that the honorable minister would have a landslide victory. He will have a big victory against his enemies or opposite candidate. Let's take one more example. A lot of women in Pudukkottai were unable to wait for ladies' cycles. Therefore, they had to dash men's cycles. They knew that bicycles dash time wasted in waiting for buses. What are the options given? Cut down on, then put up with, go in for. So as I said, first you should know the meaning. What do you mean by cut down on? Cut down on means reduce or cause reduction. Okay, what is put up with? Put up with means tolerate. What is go in for? Go in for means prefer. Okay, now let's see. A lot of women in Pudukkottai were unable to wait for ladies' cycles. They wanted ladies' cycles but unable to wait because they are out of stock. So therefore, they had to dash men's cycles. So what is that? Can it be put up with? No. They had to go in for. Okay. They had to go in for men's cycles. So they knew that bicycles dash time wasted in waiting for buses. What is that? Bicycles, okay, cut down on, because bicycles reduce the time wasted in travel or waiting for buses. Cut down on. As it is, there is no need of any change. Okay. The telephones are situated on a table or a counter in Japan. Anybody, any passerby could dash, but nobody does. The telephone receiver can be dash. What is that now? One's castle. What do you mean by one's castle? One's castle means to be in a safe place. Okay, safe place. We say, I am in a castle. I am in a castle means in olden days, you know, the kings used to build castles. Okay, we called fort. So supposed to be very safe. Then all and sundry. What do you mean by all and sundry? All and sundry means everybody. Okay, all and sundry. For example, they used to say, well, if you do not take care, all and sundry would get infected by corona. All and sundry without leaving anybody, everybody. Listen in, pay attention to. Now let us see here. Okay, the telephone are situated on a table or a counter in Japan. Anybody, any passerby could listen in. Why? Because they are kept in public. So when I talk, the other person can listen in. He can pay attention. He can listen. But nobody does. The telephone receiver can be what? One's castle. Okay. But in Japan, we have studied this lesson. So when you go to Japan, there is no place. There is no privacy. So public places, there are telephones kept. What happens now? When I talk over, the other person can listen. Because it's crowded street. But nobody listens. So when I talk, I can be very sure as if I am talking from my castle. Nobody comes inside, you see. That's why. See the expression used. Okay. Sheila Rani Chunkat included mobility dash the literacy drive. The neo-cyclist dash to the hostile remarks from some men. Now, if you had studied this lesson, we would have understood. Still, let us try to understand. Okay. What is that? Turn a deaf ear. What do you mean by turn a deaf ear? Turn a deaf ear means behave not to listen. Okay, for example, you are walking on the road and a beggar asks for some alms, for some money. And he says, Kuch de do, give me something. I have not eaten my food. But you pass by him as if you are not heard. Then we say, you are turning your ear deaf. Or you are turning a deaf ear to him, to his cry. Sometimes the baby cries and the mother who is busy, she may come and attend to the baby, but sometimes she's unable to come, so she turns a deaf ear to the cry. Okay, or sometimes our politicians or our representatives, they turn a deaf ear to our demands, to our needs. Okay, the neo-cyclist dashed to the hostile remarks from some men. Okay, to come off, then as a part of. So what is that? Let's see here. Sheila Rani Chunkat included mobility, the literacy drive, as a part of literacy drive. Now, when we study this lesson, we will understand she wanted to, make people literate, to teach them to read and write, but they were unable to move from one place to the other place. So she included cycling there so that women can go on a cycle to the centers of learning. Hence, mobility. Mobility means movement. Okay, it is a part of literacy drive. The neo-cyclist dashed the hostile remarks from some men. Now, when women were going on cycle, men used to pass comments on them, some regrettable comments. So what did they do? They did not bother. What did they do? They turn a deaf ear to the comments, as if we don't hear. Turn a deaf ear to comments. Remember, students, in life, people speak many things. They will have comments for everything, but you should know when to turn a deaf ear. Don't turn a deaf ear in the classroom when the class is going on, when the lecture is going on. Turn a deaf ear to the remarks from the people, because it depends on you to react. So if you turn a deaf ear to the remarks of the people, you have no problem. You can go ahead in life. Let's continue. Marcus knew that he would win, but he did not want dash a single vote. All the while, Roof, weighed down with guilt, pretended dash. You have studied this lesson. What is that? To be in high spirits. What do you mean by to be in high spirits? To be in high spirits almost means the same. To be in a good spirit. Okay. To be in good mood. Okay. To be in, we say worked up. Okay. In a good mood. High spirits. Okay. Then to throw away. To throw away means to lose. Lose. Purposefully almost. To throw away. Sometimes we say Indians threw away the match. Okay. To lose. Then pass by. Meaning to say pass by. Okay. Now let's see here. Marcus knew that he would win, but he did not want dash a single vote. Did not want to throw away a single vote. He did not want to throw away a single vote. All the while, Roof, weighed down with guilt, pretended to be in high spirits. Okay, pretended to be in high spirits. Meaning to say, though he knew there was something wrong, we know the story very, very well, but he was behaving as if nothing is gone wrong, to be in high spirits. Okay. Borges felt somewhat guilty for not having been a happy man. Dash, have given his mother a deserved happiness. He supposed that it is true of all the children that when their mother dies, they feel that they dash as they do with the moon or the sun or the seasons. Okay. What are the given options? Have taken for granted. What do you mean by taken for granted? Taken for granted means don't care. Don't care about it. Okay. Then pass by, we already know it. Then in order to, due to, in order to, we know it very well. Okay, now let's see. What is the answer? Borges felt somewhat guilty for not having been a happy man in order to have given his mother deserved happiness. Okay, because of that. Then he supposed that it is true of all children that when their mother dies, they feel that they have taken her for granted. Okay, they have taken her for granted. Now remember, it can be given take one for granted. Okay, so in this situation, it becomes taken her for granted. Okay, then Johnito dash the book to Don Gonzalo. He dash the glasses and takes out a magnifying glass to read the book. Now, look at here. Johnito, okay, what is the answer? Hands out. What is meaning by hand out? Hand out means give it. Okay, oppisu they say in Kannada. Hands out. So, Johnito hands out the book to Don Gonzalo. He, what he does? Puts on the glasses. Put on the glasses. We say put on the dress means wear the dress. Now here, what does he wear? Puts on. While away time means actually waste time, spend time. So that doesn't suit here. Let's take this. Thammanna was dash a method that could annihilate Basavaya completely. He dash an idea of composing ballads and singing them. What are the given options? In order to, hit upon, in search of. Now, what do you mean by in order to? In order to. Okay. Cause and effect. Okay. Hit upon. Hit upon means suddenly where you get one idea. We say kind of, innate idea. Suddenly you get intuition. Then in search of, you know the meaning. Okay, now let's see. Tammanna was in search of a method. Problem between Tammanna and Basavaya. So he was in search of a method. Very easy. Okay, then he dash hit upon an idea. Suddenly that idea comes to his mind. Suddenly hit upon the idea. Okay, Eureka, you remember. Okay, suddenly Archimedes got that idea. Eureka, suddenly said Eureka, Eureka, though he was in the bathtub. Okay, so hit upon, suddenly. From nowhere the idea comes. Hit upon. We say idea. So that is the meaning. Hit upon. The narrator saw a deer in the park. Suddenly, the deer dashed to him to snatch the pack of food and dashed his eyes and bowed deeply. It was surprising to him. Okay, what are the answers given? Straighten up. Okay, straighten up means get ready. Okay, we say when I have to, suddenly I'm sitting and suddenly the bus comes, so I straighten up means get ready, prepare myself. Then look into, again gaze up. Then came up, come up, we know the meaning. Okay, the narrator saw a deer in a park. Suddenly the deer came up to him, approached him to snatch the pack of food and looked into eyes, gazed into his eyes and bowed deeply. It was surprising to him. Okay, it was surprising to him. Now we understand this in the context of the lesson. So it's very, very important to read every word and sentence and understand the lesson. Okay. Now, a few more examples. The culprit began to dash when he was asked by the judge the reason for crime. Now I have used some different examples here. What is that? See here, mince one's words, gaze up to, break down. First I will tell you the meaning. What do you mean by mince one's words? Mince one's words means where you are not very clear in your words. Clear in the sense the meaning of what you say is not words. Okay, in between you are not clear. You don't want to say everything. So you mince your words, we say. Okay, then gaze up to means look up to. Break down means actually cry. Okay, cry. Okay, now let's see what is that. The culprit began to see the difference here now. Mince one's words I have changed into mince his words. Mince his words. What is the change now? Remember, mince one's word is a general idiom given, but it has to be changed according to the situation here, according to culprit. So we say the culprit began to mince his words. This is what I wanted you to remember, that you may have to change the pronoun, sometimes change the tense. Okay, we will give the example here. So the culprit began to mince his words. So one's words have become his words. When he was asked by the judge the reason for the crime, he, you see here, what is written here? Broke down. What is given? Break down. Okay, now we are referring to past. So say he broke down in the court hall. Okay, so please remember, such changes may be there. You may have to do the changes if required in the exam. I have given some more examples here. Now same thing here, you see here the culprit began to mince his words, we said. Now here I have said the culprits. I have asked plural. So what is the answer you are given? See, the culprits mince their words. Okay, the culprits mince their words. Why? Here there is a plural. That's why not one's words. Culprits mince their words. Please remember such changes. You have to, you just can't take cut and paste. You can't take and put it there and say I have filled the blanks. But you may have to adapt it. Okay, remember this. When they are asked by the judge the reason for the crime, they break down in the court hall. Now, here I have not made it broke down. Why? Here it is. Okay. They break down. Why? We are presenting this as a general practice, as a general truth. So, usually, general truths are presented in simple tense. Here we were referring to a past event. Okay. Okay, here we are referring to generally, in general. So we say they break down. Okay, so please remember this, they break down. That's what we have. Okay, right. Let's take one more example here. The rich man dash his servant. He cries for help. Dash, as a result, he dashed to death. What are the options given? Look down upon. We came across this phrase, idiom in the beginning. Look down upon means insult. Look down upon, or don't pay attention, don't pay respect. Fall on one's deaf ears. We heard this. Fall on one's deaf ears means neglect, do not care. Then give in. Okay, give up means we say give up it. Okay, leave, give up. Now give in does not mean give inside. Give in means actually fall prey, or you succumb. We say in Kannada sharanaguvudu. Give in. Okay, I'll give you the example, you will understand here. The rich man dash his servant. What is that? Looked down upon. Now you see, here I had given look down upon, but here since it is referring to a past event, the rich man looked down upon his servant. His cries for help, what is that? Fell on his deaf ears. Okay, we had given fall on one's deaf ears. Now since we are referring to past, we made it fell on his. Here there was once, but see the difference here, his, because we are referring to the rich man and the servant. Okay, then as a result, he gave into death. As a result, he succumbed to death. Okay, he gave into death. Sometimes you see, we say, no, my friend forced me to come with him, but I did not give in. I did not give in. I did not succumb to him. Okay, I did not surrender to him. So remember, these changes you may have to do. So usually it doesn't happen, but sometimes it happens. Hence you have to remember. That's why I put here, remember to change the tense of the verb and pronouns. Okay, right? And pronouns according to the given paragraph. This is also very, very important. Remember to change the tense of the verb, as we said here, look, looked. Okay, and break down has become broke down. Okay, then pronouns according to the given paragraph. Here you see, one's has become theirs, or one's word, his words. Okay, fell on his, fell on one's, fell on his, or fell on her. These things may happen. You may have to pay attention to these things. Okay, I'm sure if you do all these things, it will be very clear, and all of you will understand idiomatic expressions, and your language will really become good language, embellished language, very decorative language. So not only you will get good marks, even your communicative language improves. So I hope please with the video again and again and practice. That's the only way to gain mastery over using idiomatic expressions in language, for that matter any language. Thank you very much. God bless you.